All right, so another question for you, Rupam, because I think it's important to look at the world through this lens of technology, because it's not just the human element, right? We talked a lot about the human element, but there's also a technical element to this, and technology needs to be employed in order to make sure that it can help. What are specific technologies that you've run into that you think are really important to this concept of meeting equity?
And this is a big question, so I'll give you a long answer because there's so much going on. I mean, the pace of innovation that we have seen has been simply amazing. And before we get into the technology component, the most important aspect is accessibility, right? To make meetings accessible for all from any device, making sure that remote workers have the right connectivity, the right bandwidth, the right device, and the ability to join from a browser or from a meeting room, from a mobile device, no matter where they are working from. And when it comes to the technology components, I like to break this into three very specific parts. Number one is camera intelligence. Number two, smart, intelligent audio. And then, of course, there is the whole aspect of inclusive content collaboration, which is just emerging at such a fast pace. So when we look at cameras, the new breed of smart cameras are using AI technologies today, which is enabling reframing the meeting participants individually. So no matter where you are spread out across a meeting room, these individuals can be displayed clearly to the remote attendees in the online meeting window. And cameras have that great resolution today. They have a great picture. They're also adding better lighting, better sound, better microphones. And then there are flexible video layout options, right? So users can actually change the layout to feel more included, to make sure that they get the view that they care for. An example is allowing multiple participants that can be placed in a single view. So it gives the user the look and feel that everyone is sitting in the same meeting room. So you don't feel left out. Or, if in the case of a classroom or an auditorium, you see multiple participants sitting in the same view. Another aspect of meeting equity is the role of multiple cameras in the meeting room, so that you can capture better video of all participants. And really, Jordan, when you look at how we interact in meeting rooms, physical meeting rooms, there are so many nuances. The way we sit, how the furniture is placed, how we often turn and talk to each other. And all of this has to be revisited because we want to make sure that it does not take away from the experience for the remote attendee.
Yeah.
So in many cases, a single camera is not going to be enough to capture everyone in a mid-sized or a large room. And in many scenarios, a lot of people are walking into the meeting rooms with their personal devices, laptops included. So linking those two experiences, it is really important that meetings can provide that full view to everyone. And so basically, it's the power of the hardware, the software combined with AI that is really driving a lot of that meeting equity. The next is audio intelligence, a big area of focus. I cannot tell you how, we thought audio is a given. We have done with audio improvements, and then we saw this new wave of innovation that has hit the market over the last several months. Everyone that's working from home does not have access to a private dedicated office space, right? So if you're working from your kitchen, your bedroom, or from a cafe, public space, so many audio distractions, and it can completely take away from the meeting experience. So the latest noise removal technologies, speech enhancement, that's, again, a key area for delivering crystal clear audio. They are completely changing the game in terms of meeting experience. And then I talked about content collaboration. It's very much a one-way experience today. Static experience because remote users cannot participate and contribute to that session. So smarter devices, better cameras are tackling that issue where whiteboards are becoming visible. So participants that are present in the meeting room can walk up to a traditional or a digital whiteboard, and their video is becoming translucent. So when they're writing on the whiteboard, the content is fully visible to the remote users. But now we have to think beyond that. It's not just about making the whiteboard clearly visible. It's also about making sure that the remote users can participate and they can do things like co-editing. So the new generation of meeting experiences going forward are going to be bringing that physical and digital experience together. So that seamless integration and linking together of the digital and the physical is where we will see everyone be on the same footing when it comes to contributing ideas. So really, there's a lot going on, combination of multiple devices, whether it's your personal device or the room device or home PC or tablet, and all of that combined with AI, smart cloud meetings, all of this is ensuring equal participation.
Yeah, you hit a lot there. That is for sure, and certainly some absolutely perfect observations. I mean, everything from camera intelligence. I don't think that one can be understated. I mean, this idea of in a video meeting, it's about driving personal interactions, right? It's something you and I talk about all the time. How do we drive up personal interactions? And cameras are certainly key to that. The idea of automatic framing, whether it's done in the room, whether it's done on the back end, because certainly some cameras, mobile devices, laptops don't have that intelligence built in, at least not yet. So how do we make sure that we can drive that capability to all devices? How do we make sure that audio is brought to the forefront, content maintains connectivity? But there's one aspect of access that I think is often overlooked, is this idea of how do we bring complete equity into the meeting access part of it. You know, you talked a lot about device equity, right? How do I make sure that I can join a meeting, whether it's from my mobile device, whether it's from a tablet, whether it's from a laptop, a desktop, a room system, whether I'm joining from home or from a coffee shop, whether I'm in the office, whatever the case may be. But it's also about making sure that we're bringing all of the appropriate capabilities to all users, right? Making sure that we're using the right in the U.S., there's this concept of 503 compliance that we need to maintain, but, integration with screen readers, integration with tactile devices. How do we make sure that the user, no matter what access they have or what access they don't, they feel comfortable using the tools that are in front of them? And that's where design comes in. One of the most overlooked, in my opinion, one of the most overlooked aspects of development is this concept of design and doing a design-driven architecture where you think about the user experience, you think about the user interactivity, the user interface before you write a line of code. And you run it through usability testing, and you run it through testing within others that may not have access to all of their different capabilities. And I think that's a big part of it as well, because it's not just about any one technology, to your point. It's about how do all of these technologies come together and allow the user to feel like they're a part of a bigger collaborative experience. So could not agree with you there.
Yeah, and Jordan, we talked about the role of facilities, right? That's where they come in room design, better room design. And facilities is seriously reevaluating the way office spaces are designed today. Things like real estate optimization, with some of the workers partially or fully working from home, the physical office space has to be completely viewed from a different lens. And because we will be more distributed and more dispersed, there is a need for more meetings and more meeting rooms. So we are seeing things like phone booths, jump spaces, meeting pods, where people can go in and have those distraction-free meeting experiences. And that's where facilities is going to go in and make sure that the way they design each of these rooms and the way the cameras are placed and the table and the furniture is placed, all of that has to ensure that better meeting experience, more engaging meetings.
Really good point. How do we support those of us that actually like coming back into the office, that want to spend time here in new and different ways going forward?
Yeah, and that's really important, because I think the whole meeting equity conversation right now is super focused on the remote users, and rightfully so, And we're talking about providing an engaging experience for those joining remotely, but there needs to be an equal focus on how to make those physical meeting experiences better. Otherwise people will have less incentive to go into the offices and meeting rooms. And we are so used to this digital experience when joining online meetings, better video views or private and public chat experiences. So there needs to be that equally engaging digital experience that should be created for those who are physically present in the meeting room. And so making those meetings more and more infused with interactive technologies. Employees that are returning to the meeting rooms don't want to miss out on things like chat, raising hand, being able to send live reactions. That has become a part and parcel of our meeting experience. And so, bringing those two worlds closer together, the digital experience, the physical experience, ensuring the kind of interactivity that we are all used to. That's what is meeting equity is really going to be about.
Yeah, and I think I'll build on that a little bit just to say when we talk to customers, when I'm out there talking to customers or to partners, the trends that we're hearing are not just about the in-meeting experience, but are also about the pre- and post-meeting experience. And how do we maintain this idea of simplicity that everybody's gotten used to when we've been working at home? Before the pandemic, we were talking to customers about fully integrated rooms and how do we bring these bells and whistles into the rooms and how do we drive up the room experience so it feels luxurious, it feels expensive, it feels like it's a fully managed experience. And now that customers are coming back into the office, they're talking to us about ripping all of that stuff out and really just driving a simplistic experience. How do we make sure that it's a one touch or even a zero touch join, but there isn't all of this complicated equipment in there so that when something breaks, they don't know how to fix it. If I'm in a call and for whatever reason I get dropped from that call, I should be able to just very quickly, very easily hit the one button to rejoin into that call. And I shouldn't have to think about it because that's what I've been used to at home. Yep. And it'll be interesting to see as more and more organizations come in, does this trend continue? You often hear statements around, you can't change a 100-year-old company or a 100-year-old culture overnight. And a lot of this is built on older cultures or more legacy cultures, if you will. It'll be interesting to see, though, because even for companies that you would have considered legacy or older companies, they're absolutely modernizing their user experience with the focus on simplicity. And so it'll be interesting to see as they continue to come back to the office, does that maintain? Does that continue? I don't know. On some level, none of us really know, right? Time will tell. Time will tell.